Hey everybody, welcome to my next toy room tour video of 2023. So in this video, I'm going to cover my DC Universe figures and my Power Ranger figures because those are really the two toy collections that I focus the most on the channel. So I'm going to run through my toy room here of all of my DC Comics related figures, as well as my Power Ranger collection. So over here in this corner, I've got just a bunch of random stuff up there, and I've got my shelf of Martian Manhunter figures, which Martian Manhunter is my second favorite DC character after Superman. Speaking of Superman, here is my DC Multiverse Superman shelf. So these are all the Superman related characters. A couple of these are customs. So like the Eradicator and Superboy, I customized to look more like their 90s appearances. You can all see that I actually fixed the smiling Superman figure. So I actually put the trunks on him from the Superman that came with the Doomsday. So he's got the correct trunks, and his pretty weird looking smiling face is covered up with a Starro figure. So fixed that one pretty creatively, I must say. I'm pretty proud of that. Then we've got my DC Multiverse Lantern shelf, which is kind of supplemented with some other figures, like some DC Direct figures are back there, and some custom red lanterns that I made a while back. So I have a nice little display here of lantern figures, mostly made up of DC Multiverse. Then I've got my DC Icons collection. So these were put out by DC Collectibles. This line has been done for quite a while, but I still really like the figures. I think they're pretty cool. They're a little bit small because they are a true 6-inch scale. So they're a little smaller than DC Universe Classics, and certainly a lot smaller than the DC Multiverse. And then here is just my random shelf of figures. Most of these are DC Direct figures. A lot of these are old, and they're just figures that I have not wanted to part with. A lot of these are figures that I just really love. Then if I pan back, you can see that I have unfortunately had to resort to putting some things on the floor. So we've got the Batboat, we've got the Batmobile. I did paint the canopy black so it would match a little better. And we've got the Wonder Woman in her invisible jet. So moving on up here, some more random DC figures, some more random DC stuff. Then we've got the Spin Master figures, which I may end up boxing these up because the Superpowers collection is already getting pretty crazy. So as you can see, I have been collecting the McFarlane DC Superpowers line. I don't have every single figure, but I'm pretty close here. I may just end up picking up the figures that I'm not terribly interested in just to complete the line. I've also gotten, I did a custom Cyborg Superman back there. And yeah, so as you can see, I'm running out of room because I do have some newer things from this year on the floor, and it just kind of is what it is at this point. So also on the floor is the Sea Dragon from the Aquaman movie, which I actually just saw the Aquaman movie a couple of days ago, and it was actually not bad. It was better than I thought it would be. But that is the DC Icons Aquaman on the seahorse there. The Storm, the seahorse, or Sea Dragon, however you want to refer to him. I think that seahorse is amazingly well done by McFarlane Toys, of course. It looks super cool, but I just wanted to have a smaller, more classic looking Aquaman. Believe me, I tried many different Aquaman figures on that seahorse until I found the one that I liked the best. And I just love this. I just really, really like how it looks. This is my random shelf of DC Multiverse. So a lot of just random Batman and Superman characters and just other figures that I really liked that just don't really have a place to be. Then we've got my DC Multiverse villains. And we've got my DC Multiverse Batman family. So, you know, just like the versions that I like the best of, you know, the Batman family characters. So a lot of these are from this year, like the Robin and the Riddler, and I think the Bane was from this year. Then we've got my Justice League shelf, which is actually kind of like Justice League and Justice Society and just kind of everybody else. So in the front there is essentially my classic Justice League. Still waiting for Wonder Woman to come out, but at least we know she should be coming out anytime soon. Then, of course, we've got Alan Scott and Jay Garrick. We've got Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Still waiting for my good version of Hawkman, which I ended up just customizing the regular version since the more classic version is the Chase. And then we've got some other characters. I think the Black Lightning and the Captain Atom came out fantastic. Really love those figures. And I swapped the head on the Hush Superman, gave him a pointing finger, swapped the head on the Aquaman, but everybody else looks great. So yeah, most of these have come out this year, you know, and I think they look fantastic. I mean, the Superman and Batman alongside each other, just very kind of classic, you know, 80s, early 90s Justice League. Looks great. And we've got my Teen Titans shelf. So these are the DC Multiverse figures that sort of kind of fit into the DC or the Teen Titans umbrella, I guess you could say. So there you go. There's my random Batman shelf. So just all things Batman on that shelf there. And then I'm just going to back up here so you can see more of just that corner. So that's my newer DC stuff for the most part. So that's like my DC Multiverse stuff and my McFarlane Superpower stuff. So this is all the new stuff for the most part. So this is a lot of these pickups are from 2023. And then if I move over here, you can see that this is my collection of some DC Direct and DC Universe Classics figures. A lot of this is the same from last year's Toy Room Tour, but there have been quite a few new additions. So just mentioning real quick here, some new additions. So I just recently got the Guardian figure there. So very happy to add that to the Superman family shelf of DC Universe Classics. Not a lot new additions here for the Justice Society or the Justice League. But I did finally manage to get the Apache Chief Build-A-Figure. So he's back there with his buddies. So that's pretty sweet. Most of this is the same, although I did recently get the Robin there, so that's cool. Let's see. Definitely some new additions here. I just recently got the Robot Man and the Elastigirl. So very happy to essentially complete the Doom Patrol. That is a custom Beast Boy because I've got Beast Boy up here with the Teen Titans, and then you'll see the other Beast Boy figure here when I turn around. But yeah, so and the Rocket Red is a very new addition. So yeah, a few of these I just added to the collection this year, which is great. So that is just kind of my miscellaneous DC Universe Classic shelf, and then some. We've got my Lantern shelf. So I did get Kilowog earlier this year. So it's really fantastic having Kilowog next to our Kilo. So those look great. This is my Batman the Brave and the Bold shelf. And I did very recently just pick up Chemo at a toy show. And I paid less than $100 for him, which I was very happy about. And I stuck him in here because he would not fit on the villain shelf up there. He's too tall, and also just there's no room for a big figure. So I know that there was at least one episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold where Chemo was the main villain. And yeah, I had to stick him there. I actually had to bend him over a little bit to get him to fit height-wise, but at least there's plenty of room width-wise on this shelf. Nothing, of course, has changed for the new 52. Moving over here, this is the DC Direct Ed McGuinness artwork shelf, and I did recently pick up that Robot Superman. I actually got that Robot Superman at the same toy show from the same seller as the Chemo figure. So the person I bought Chemo from, I also bought that Robot Superman from. So that shelf's looking great. Here's the Young Justice shelf. I did recently get that Major Force, and I have a custom Major Force on my villain shelf I'm actually pretty happy with. So I just kind of stuck him there because that is basically an animated version of Major Force that came from that same line that the Superman and Batman came from. So I just kind of stuck him there. Nothing else has really changed in the DC Classics. So there you go. And then if I move over here, this is the wall of DC figures that are mint on card. So that's where Beast Boy is hanging out there. You can kind of see him right in the middle. And then I've got my DC Multiverse figures that I've kept on card. They are spanning the length here. And then if I go over here, this is where my McFarlane Superpowers figures are. And you can see that I do have the Black Manta and the Reverse Flash, which are Walmart exclusives and pretty difficult to find. Also got my lovely Total Justice collection there. And my JLA figures from the 90s. And then some statues, some other DC related things there. So that's majority of my DC stuff. And then if I just move over here real quick, not a whole heck of a lot has changed with the Superman area. I have added a few new figures here. Obviously, McFarlane figures are newer. But yeah, so that is the Superman collection, which of course Superman is not just my favorite DC Comics character, but also my favorite character overall. All right, so a little bit more Superman stuff to show you, and then we will move on to Power Rangers. All right, so due to running out of room, I actually had to move my Superman the Animated Series mint on card figures to the bedroom. So here are my Superman the Animated Series figures. I'm trying to complete this line. I'm getting pretty close. I think I need about 5 more figures. And then I also have some of the Man of Steel figures on card. And I don't know if I'm going to complete this line because there's a lot of the figures from this line that I don't really particularly care about. But definitely want to complete the Superman, the Animated Series toy line. So had to move these out of the toy room because I was running out of room because there were too many McFarlane toys that I wanted to keep on card. So there you go. All right, and one of the most cherished parts of my toy collection overall, but certainly my DC collection, these are my vintage Superpowers collection. So these are figures that I've been collecting for a number of years, and some of these are very recent additions because I have been working hard to complete this line, although obviously I know there's a couple I'll never get because I'm not going to pay $500 or $600 for any of these single figures, and maybe I'll pick up some weapons kind of along the line, but I pick these up when I see them in good shape at toy shows. And yeah, so I just recently got the Brainiac and the Plastic Man. And yeah, so there are my vintage Superpowers figures. Very, very happy with those. And yeah, they are actually right in the front of my living room. just because I love them so much, and also there's nowhere in the toy room to put them, but I like to have them out on display kind of as their own thing. All right, so moving on to Power Rangers. I just wanted to start off here because the Serpentera is a somewhat recent addition. This is the vintage Serpentera that I bought at a toy show earlier this year. So this is a 2023 pickup, even though obviously this is a toy from the 90s. I actually got this at a toy show. It was in box, complete, in fantastic shape, and I was very, very happy to add this to my collection. I really never thought I would find a Serpentera in such amazing condition to add to my vintage Power Ranger collection, but there he is. I also found the Pudgy Pig a couple days ago at a Ross, which is kind of ridiculous, but we don't need to get into that. So here is my Lord Zedd throne room that I made a couple summers ago. Not a lot has changed here. I think the Minotaur is probably the newest addition, which is also my favorite of all the monster figures that Hasbro put out. So it's a shame that they basically ended the line with some really great figures, because the Minotaur is great. That is actually the Super 7 Rita. I think that she fits in well with the Lightning Collection figures, and that's mostly the stuff that came with Rita back there. So this is my Lord Zedd throne room display with all my monsters, my Tengas, Rita, Finster, Goldar, all those guys. So if I move over here now, the other side of this diorama that I put together is the command center. So we've got Zordon and Alpha. We've got my civilian Rangers, which are customs, of course, that I made a couple years back. And then we've got all 6 remastered figures. So these are the remastered Power Ranger figures, which I think really came out very good. I got lucky. None of mine that I bought had any problems or issues. I got a few of them on sale from various different outlets. They look great. And then we've got my season 2 display. And yes, I actually put the animated Jason head on there because we really don't have a good Rocky head at all. So I'm just pretending that that's Rocky. And then we got season 3 with the Ninja Rangers and the Ninjor, the best Ninjor that I guess we're going to get. And then I actually put the Super 7 Kimberly head on the Lightning Collection Rita figure as like kind of a homage to that one episode. And I think it's funny and it looks cool, and that's what I did. So there you go. That is my command center of my seasons 1 through 3 Lightning Collection figures. Moving on over, we've got a bunch of random Power Ranger things here. We've got some cars. We've got some Super 7 reaction stuff. We've got just a whole bunch of random Power Ranger goodies in this corner. And then speaking of random, this is my Lightning Collection shelf of figures I don't know what to do with. So some customs and just some other random figures that don't really have a place right now. Then we've got my vintage deluxe bad guys. So these are, of course, the older figures from back in the day. Then we've got my Goldar and Lord Zedd display. So various different versions of Goldar and Lord Zedd. Moving over here, we've got my Green Ranger display. So just all kinds of different Green Ranger stuff. We've got some other random villains. So you can see just different villains from different seasons. From, Goldar Scorpina, season 1 Putties, Evil Green Ranger, all the way to Mesogog, Lord Draken. Down here are my vintage 5-inch villains. So this is from the vintage toy line from the 90s. And I don't know if I have all of them, but pretty close. They're not all complete, but they're fun. Then we've got some Dino Fury stuff. So the Dino Fury Zords are the Japanese versions. And then we've got other Dino Fury toys. Just a bunch of random Dino Fury stuff. Coming back up here, this is the Lightning Collection stuff now. So we've got the Lightning Collection in Space collection here. So the In Space Rangers, Psycho Rangers, In Space Megazord, all those guys. And then we've got Zeo down here. So the Zeo Rangers, and I think I have 6 cogs. Then we've got some more here. We've got Dino Thunder and Dino Charge. So a lot of those are customs because I wanted the complete Dino Charge team, which I now have. So there you go. There's some Dino Rangers. And down here, got some more. So there's the 5 Alien Rangers, the 5 Lost Galaxy Rangers. We've got a couple Time Force, and we've got a few Dino Fury. Then I've got the Red Turbo Ranger and the green or the blue in space with the Galaxy Glider. I found that one at Ross for super cheap. And then I kind of thought, well, this will be cool because then I'll have like, 2 different versions of TJ kind of they're on the floor, which I don't like, but at least they're kind of like, bookending the shelf. Moving over here, we've got more Dino Charge stuff. So the Gold Ranger weapons there. Those are the Japanese versions. Most of these are the Bandai American versions of the toys. So again, love Dino Charge, if you can't tell. Up here are the Mighty Morphin Zords. So that is the OG original vintage Megazord, the Legacy Megazord, the Super 7 Tyrannosaurus Dinozord, the Auric the Conqueror Zord, the Vintage Dragon Zord, the Legacy Dragon Zord, and the Super 7, whatever they call this, like the Cyborg Dragon Zord. That's not the Ultimate Dragon Zord. Moving up here, we've got the Legacy Thunder Zords and Ninja Zords, as well as the Vintage Falcon Zord, Vintage Red Ranger, just a mixture of Mighty Morphin Zords and figures and whatnot. And we've got the Q Ranger Zords and weapons and morphers. So these are the Japanese versions of the Q Ranger toys, which of course some of these Zords were used in Cosmic Fury, but I didn't pick up any of the Cosmic Fury stuff. And we've got the Legacy Rangers with their Build-A-Figure Zords. And I stuck the Super 7 putty there because I don't have anywhere else to put it. And then a bunch of random Power Ranger stuff there. And then a bunch of other Power Ranger stuff hanging on the wall. So there you go. So there are my Power Ranger toys. I'll back up here so you can see the entire collection. So there you go. So that back wall there is basically my entire Power Ranger collection. And then earlier in the video, you saw the DC collection, which kind of meets up with the Power Ranger collection in that corner. All right, a couple more things to show you, and then the video will be done. All right, so just real quick here, I do have the Super 7 Goldar, Lord Zed, and King Sphinx. They are on a little shelf that's behind my couch in the living room, and mostly because they are newer, and I have nowhere to put them. So that's where they're going to stay for now, and yeah, they are very cool figures, especially the Goldar, and there you go, Super 7 Ultimates. Bad guys. All right, and then finally, the last part of this toy room tour video for my DC Comics and Power Ranger toy collection. This is my Green Ranger corner. So earlier in the video, you saw how I have basically a shelf of Green Ranger figures. I also have this little corner, which is basically between my living room and kitchen, where I have some of my more cherished and more favorite Green Ranger items. So, of course, I am a huge fan of the Green Ranger. Earlier this year, we lost the actor Jason David Frank, who, of course, portrayed Tommy, the Green Ranger, which was very, very sad, very shocking to Power Ranger fans all over the world. So this little corner has kind of become my tribute to JDF. This is where I put my Master Morpher that came out this year, as well as my vintage Green Ranger figure, my Lightning Collection custom figure, my 3-0 Green Ranger, and my Lightning Collection, or I'm sorry, my Legacy Dragon Dagger. So yeah, so this little corner here, which actually I kind of face when I'm sitting on my couch. And this is actually where I turn on the lights to my toy room. Those are the lights to my toy room. This is where you enter my toy room. So that's kind of the entrance to the toy room there. So needless to say, I see this corner multiple times a day. Every time I, go in or out of my toy room, anytime I'm sitting on my couch, this is right here to remind me of one of my favorite characters in all of pop culture, and to an actor who really meant quite a lot to me in my, later childhood, because of course I was like 12, 13 when Power Rangers came out. And really that first and second season of Power Rangers is it's significant to me growing up, because it's kind of like the end of my childhood, beginning of adolescence, beginning of teenage years, beginning of high school. And that's when I stopped collecting toys for a very long time. That's when I stopped being into a lot of these things for a lot of years. So it does mean a lot to me. So there you go. That is the end of this toy room tour video. There will be one more video posted later of basically everything else in my collection. So everything that's not Turtles, Power Rangers, or DC, that'll be the last toy room tour video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and have a good one.